It's 3 a.m. You're staring at the ceiling. Your phone is face down beside you. Somewhere in your chest, a quiet panic is building. But here's the strange part. Your ancestors knew this exact feeling. They just didn't think it was a problem. For most of human history, sleep didn't look like one long, unbroken block. It came in two pieces. Historians call it first sleep and second sleep. You'd drift off shortly after dark. Then, a few hours later, you'd wake. Not from stress, not from a screen. Just naturally, in the deep quiet of the night. Historian Roger Ekirch spent over 16 years digging through old diaries, court records, and medical texts. What he found changed how we think about sleep entirely. References to first sleep and second sleep appeared again and again in documents from before the Industrial Revolution. People woke in the middle of the night, and they didn't panic. They got up. Think about that for a second. An entire hour, sometimes two, existing in the dark, wide awake. What did they do with it? They prayed. They talked. They had sex. They visited neighbors. Some just lay there, thinking, letting the mind wander in a way it never gets to during the day. This waking hour even had a name in Old English texts. It was called the watch. A quiet stretch of consciousness sitting right in the middle of the night, treated as ordinary as breakfast. Now compare that to you. You wake at 3 a.m., and your first thought is dread. Something is wrong with me. I need to fix this. But what if nothing is wrong? What if your body is doing exactly what it was built to do, and the world just stopped giving it permission? Here's where the story gets stranger. Sleep researcher Thomas Wehr ran an experiment in the early 1990s that almost nobody talks about. He took a group of volunteers and removed artificial light from their evenings entirely. No lamps, no screens, just darkness for 14 hours a night for weeks. Within a month, something remarkable happened. Their sleep split on its own, without anyone telling them to. They fell into a pattern of 4 hours of sleep, then an hour or two of calm, quiet wakefulness, then another 4 hours of sleep. The exact rhythm Ekirch had found buried in centuries-old letters. Wehr's subjects weren't taught this pattern. Their bodies simply remembered it. So what changed? One invention: artificial light. Before the widespread use of gas lamps and later electric bulbs, night was night. Truly dark. Your ancestors' bodies responded to that darkness the way every mammal's does, with a period of rest, a natural pause, then more rest. But light didn't just let people stay up later. It rewired the entire architecture of the night. Bedtime got pushed back. Wake time stayed the same. And the two sleeps that once fit comfortably into a long dark night got crushed into a single, forced, unbroken block. Your body never got the memo. That 3 a.m. wake-up isn't insomnia. It might be biology reaching for a rhythm the modern world erased. And when it happens, instead of getting one calm hour to think, pray, or simply exist, you get a phone glowing in the dark and a mind spiraling toward tomorrow's to-do list. There's a reason this hits so hard when you actually experience it. Anthropologists studying pre-industrial societies without electricity, including groups in Namibia, Bolivia, and Tanzania, found something almost identical to Wehr's lab results. Sleep researcher Jerome Siegel led a study observing 3 modern hunter-gatherer and forager communities. None of them had electricity. None of them followed a clock. And yet none of them showed the rigid, one-block sleep pattern most of the industrialized world assumes is normal. What they did have was flexibility, sleep that bent around temperature, moonlight, hunger, the sounds of the night. Waking wasn't feared. It was expected, even useful. A moment to check the fire. A moment to listen for danger. A moment simply to be a conscious animal in the dark. Now picture your ancestor, 10,000 years ago, waking in the small hours. No dread, no glowing screen demanding attention. Just firelight maybe, and the low murmur of someone else's voice nearby. A stretch of consciousness with nowhere urgent to be. That hour wasn't wasted time. It was woven into the rhythm of being human. Compare that to your version of the same moment. Heart already picking up speed. Mind already calculating how many hours are left before the alarm. The watch has become the enemy, instead of the pause it always was. Here's the twist that makes this even stranger. Some researchers now believe the pressure to sleep in one unbroken chunk, and the anxiety that spikes when you can't, might actually be making insomnia worse, not better. The panic itself becomes the disruption. You wake, you check the time, you calculate lost sleep, your heart rate climbs, and suddenly, a completely normal biological pause has turned into a crisis. Ekirch's research suggests something almost countercultural for a world obsessed with optimized, uninterrupted sleep. Maybe the goal was never 8 flawless hours in a row. Maybe brief nighttime wakefulness is not a malfunction, but a feature so old it predates written language. So what would it look like to treat that hour differently? Not as a problem to medicate away, but as your ancestors treated it. A pause. A private, unhurried piece of the night that belongs to no one else. Some sleep researchers now suggest almost exactly this to patients with mild nighttime waking, low light, no screens, no clock watching, simply letting the mind exist in the dark until sleep returns on its own terms. It sounds almost impossibly simple, but it mirrors, almost exactly, what Wehr's subjects rediscovered the moment artificial light was taken away. Given the chance, the body remembers an older rhythm. It just needs darkness and permission to find it again. Your ancestors weren't better sleepers than you. They weren't calmer, or more disciplined, or somehow immune to worry. They simply lived inside a night that hadn't been flattened into a single forced block by electric light. Their wakefulness had a name. It had a purpose. It had company, sometimes, and quiet, always. Tonight, if you wake at 3 a.m., try something. Don't reach for your phone. Don't calculate the hours you're losing. Just lie there, in the dark, the way humans did for most of history. Let your mind wander. You're not broken. You're not failing at rest. You're simply awake, in the middle of an ancient, familiar watch.